I'll never forget the way Naipanoi used to smile at me. Not the big kind of smile that shows teeth. Hers was small, shy. Like she was scared to feel too much. We were from the same village near the Loita Hills, deep in Masai land. She was a herder. Quiet, sharp-eyed, always walking alone with the goats near the dry riverbed. I was a Moran, a warrior in training. Strong, proud, respected. And yet, I broke every rule to be with her. It started small. Just a look. Then a word. Then a promise under the acacia tree. I will wait for you. But she wasn't the one picked for me. The elders wanted me to marry Nazirian, the chief's niece. She came from a powerful bloodline. Beaded necklaces that sparkled like fireflies. She always wore a red shuka, freshly dyed. She walked like she owned the wind. But she wasn't Naipanoi. We met in secret. At night, when the stars were out and the cattle were tied. We would sit behind the elders' kraal, where the Nkong's light couldn't reach us. I gave her a piece of my mother's beaded wristband. She braided it into her hair. We talked about running away. We laughed like children. But we were never really free. One night, I saw shadows moving near the tree where we always met. I thought it was a hyena. It wasn't. It was Senati, Naipanoi's cousin. She had followed us. Jealous. Bitter. She always wanted a Moran for herself. She ran back to the village. The next morning, everything changed. The warriors were called together. The village was silent. My father didn't look at me. My mother wept quietly into her shuka. The chief's voice thundered through the Meniata. You have broken the code. You have shamed your blood. You have tied your soul to a girl with no warrior blood. You will be cut off. They stripped me of my red shuka, took my spear, told me I was no longer a Moran. Naipanoi was dragged before the elders. Her face was dirty. Her lip was bleeding. The beads I gave her were ripped from her hair. The old women spit at her feet. They called her Nkasakasa, a girl who opens herself too easily. I tried to speak, but they beat me with a carved stick until my knees gave out. That night, we were locked in different huts. I don't know what they did to her in hers, but I heard her crying until the roosters crowed. The next day, she was gone. They told me she was taken away, to live with distant relatives across the hills. They said she would never come back. But that was a lie. Months passed. I did nothing but sit by the cattle pens. My spirit was broken. Then strange things started happening. The goats wouldn't give milk. The cows avoided water. A baby was born with its eyes shut. And then, warriors began seeing a girl in the shadows, wearing a torn shuka, with beads in her hair. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She just watched. One night, I saw her. I swear it was her, Naipanoi. But her eyes were empty, like two dead stars. She stood outside my hut. Her hair was wet. Her feet were covered in mud. I called her name. She didn't answer. She just raised her hand and showed me the bead I gave her. Then she was gone. The next morning, I told the elders. They burned herbs. They brought the Libon, the spiritual healer. He said we had disrespected the land, that the girl was no longer just a girl. She had become a spirit of shame, a curse tied to broken blood oaths. They gathered all of us, built a fire, told me to speak her name 3 times, to release her. I couldn't, so they did it for me. They burned her beads, smashed her calabash, chanted until the moon was high. But that night, she came back. This time she wasn't quiet. She screamed, loud, long, like wind through bones. I covered my ears. The other warriors ran. The fire went out on its own. In the dark, I saw her face. No eyes, just emptiness. I left the village the next morning. I haven't been back since. People say the goats still avoid the river. That the acacia tree where we met never grew new leaves. That on cold nights, you can hear a girl crying between the huts. I don't know if Naipanoi died, or if her spirit just broke harder than mine. But I know this. When the elders found out our secret, they tried to bury it. But some love doesn't die. It haunts. I thought I had escaped her. I walked for weeks, crossed valleys, slept under thorn bushes. The sun burned my back. The nights froze my bones. But I kept walking. I found a small village near the base of the Nguraman escarpment. The people were kind. They didn't ask questions. I stayed with an old herder who had no sons. He let me sleep in the goat hut. I helped him fix fences, chase off jackals, carry water in the evening. I thought maybe I could forget her. But even there, she followed. It started with dreams. I'd wake up gasping, mouth full of dust, heart pounding like a war drum. In my dreams, I saw the acacia tree. I saw the beads. I saw her face, torn between a smile and a scream. And always, the same whisper. You forgot me. One day, the old herder's daughter, a girl of 5, brought me something. She had found it near the cow pens. She smiled as she dropped it into my palm. It was a blue bead, frayed at the edge, just like the one I gave Naipanoi. My chest felt tight. I almost dropped it. I asked where she found it. She pointed to the forest line, to the mouth of the sacred cave, the one no one entered. The elders of the village said the cave belonged to the old ones. Spirits lived there. No one carved it. It was made by wind and time. That night, I couldn't sleep. I held the bead in my hand until my palm went numb. Then, I made a choice. I would go to the cave, face her, beg her to leave me alone. The cave was colder than I expected. The entrance was narrow. I had to crouch. Inside, the air was thick, heavy. The walls had old drawings, white chalk shapes, spirals, spears, eyes. I walked deeper, and then I saw her, Naipanoi, sitting in the dark, wearing the same torn shuka, hair long, tangled with dry grass, feet bare, covered in red dust. Her face had no expression, just stillness. I wanted to run, but my legs didn't move. She spoke first. You promised you'd wait. I couldn't speak. My throat was dry. She stood up. You let them take me. You let them curse me. Tears ran down my face. I dropped to my knees. I said her name. Naipanoi. I never stopped loving you. She stepped forward. Her feet made no sound. She touched my face. Her fingers were cold, but gentle, like they used to be. Then take me out of here, she said. Suddenly, the wind in the cave howled. Torches lit on their own. The drawings on the wall glowed. I screamed. The cave shook. I ran. I ran until my chest almost exploded. When I looked back, the cave was gone. Just thick bush. No entrance. No drawings. No Naipanoi. I stayed in that village a few more days. But I knew I couldn't run anymore. So I went back home. To the village I swore I'd never return to. When I arrived, the elders were older. The chief had died. Even Senati had left for marriage in a faraway land. I asked about Naipanoi. No one spoke her name. One old woman pulled me aside. She whispered, her spirit still walks. Every dry season, the cattle won't pass the acacia tree. Her beads still show up in the ashes of the fire. She looked at me closely. Only you can finish what was started. Now I sit here, near the same tree. Older, tired. I carved her name into the bark. And every night, I light a small fire. Place the last blue bead beside it. Sometimes I see her, in the smoke, smiling that small smile again. And I tell her, I never forgot you.